Yeah,
All right, let's get started.
Your
This
Honor, I'm sorry to be that person, but before we get started, can we have a brief breakout with me, you, and defense counsel, please?
that cannot be good, Mr. Walker. That just cannot be
Oh,
a good start to this calendar. All right, is the jail already
oh,
on the
Mr.
screen?
Howard is already aware, so it should be very quick.
Okay, that sounds great. Then we'll come
So
back on the record.
sorry.
If I could be in that breakout, and then we'll get started with the actual calendar, that'd be great.
All right, thank you so much.
All right,
What are we doing now, Judge?
I'm going into a breakout, Mr. Howard, Mr. Walker.
Okay, don't two, okay.
Are we allowed to join and listen?
I don't have any objection, but it's up to
No, that's
Mr.
fine.
Howard, I'm sure.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Today is this is the state expedited accusations calendar. Today is October the 12th of 2022. This calendar is for those individuals who've been recently arrested, but the cases have already been formally accused by the Solicitor General. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney today. All participants, please be advised that this proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It is also being recorded. That means that any member of the public can log on and watch this. Please do not be driving while engaging in this hearing. Please be in a safe, quiet place. And please comport yourself as if we were in live court today. Ms. Bridgewater, will you please give me my reset date?
Sure, Your Honor. It's going to be October the 25th.
All right, all those who receive a surety or a cash bond today will be reset to the state all-purpose calendar on October the 25th. Those who receive a signature bond, whether through the jail or pretrial, will be reset for further notice. All right, has every member of the Public Defender's Office been able to speak with their clients?
Your Honor, position number 9, we believe that I need to have interpreter, a Spanish interpreter. Can we have a breakout room for meeting with, interviewing with a client?
That was what I was going to address. I see that there's an interpreter on the line. Good afternoon. Is position 9 in a place
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Is position 9 in a place where she can go into a breakout and speak to that defendant at this time, Ms. Kim?
Not at the moment, Judge. We don't have you guys can do it over the phone because we don't have a courtroom available at the time.
Is that possible? Is to do a 3-way call with the jail? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We won't belabor that point. Ms. Kim, you're nodding. It seems as if you know how to do that. Madam Interpreter, I'm going to ask that you engage in a phone conversation if you don't mind. And
Yes,
we'll go
ma'am.
on with the rest of the calendar. Who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge. This is going to be position number 1, add-on, Mr. Nguyen.
All right. I'm sorry, Ms. Kim, you were saying something?
She needs the interpreter's phone number or the
Yes,
interpreter.
yes, that's what I was.
For her to do the 3-way.
Yes,
And I want to make sure this is not Ms. Kim's case, correct?
it is my case, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, Ms. Kim, I'll go ahead and do all of Ms. Johnson's.
Oh, Ms. Watson Cafe, were you shaking your head? Is Nicholas Wynn your client?
Yes.
Okay, so we can do that case. We can stick with Mr. Wynn. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Wynn. Your case is 22 CR 006857E, in which you're charged with battery, substantial physical harm, with the offense date of August the 3rd of 2021. Do you understand your rights here today?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
He went to felony, so my coworker has that file.
All right, we'll defer to the state. Ms. Backus, good to see you this afternoon. Can I please have the history?
Yes, this is his second arrest or second cycle. Our case, and then the felony this morning was for felony theft by shoplifting and financial transaction fraud. The state for this case is recommending a $2,500 surety bond. Oh, it's already in place. We're asking that it remain in place. No further contact with the victim, Christopher Reed. Stay away from the incident location, which is 615 Stonehill Drive Southwest. 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. This incident occurred on August 2nd of 2021. An officer was dispatched to that incident location in reference to an assault. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the victim, Christopher Reed, who advised that he was assaulted by his supervisor, the defendant. And the defendant asked him to finish a last-minute warehouse shipment, to which Mr. Reed said that he was too tired. And after the defendant asked him multiple times, Mr. Reed agreed to it, but he said he didn't complete the shipment because he was tired. And so Mr. Reed was then, he said he was verbally accosted in the warehouse, and then the defendant began to scream and yell in his face. And according to the video footage, you can see Mr. Reed attempting to de-escalate the situation by going back to work. Mr. Reed then got on, I guess, some type of warehouse equipment where he drove a pallet. I'm sorry, one second, Your Honor. he attempted to drive away. And the defendant stood in front of it to stop him from leaving, causing the pallet to fall and strike the defendant. And that's when the defendant punched Mr. Reed in the face. The defendant was not on the scene when the officer arrived, but the officer spoke to the supervisor, James, and he said that Mr. Reed or the defendant thought Mr. Reed was going to run him over with the pallet jack, and that's why he struck him. Mr. Reed did convey that he had no intent of causing any harm to the defendant, and he notified him of that before he got hit. And so the officer did observe that Mr. Reed had a visible laceration and severe swelling to his eye.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, Your Honor. That's basically it. The state is asking for that surety bond to remain in place, and nothing further.
All right, thank you. Before I go to Ms. Watson Cafe, I'm going to sound for Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, if you're present on the Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing none, Ms. Watson Cafe, good to see you. It's been quite some time. Please
Yes,
proceed.
Your Honor, good to see you as well. We would be asking for a signature bond in this case. As you've heard from the state, Mr. Nguyen does not have any prior convictions, and even the prior case that was spoken of as a nonviolent case in which, again, he's only been accused of. He has been in the state of Georgia for over 28 years. He has 2 years of college at Savannah State University. This obviously happened as a place of employment, so he is indeed employed full-time at a food distribution center. He has all of his family here in Georgia, so he has very strong ties to Georgia. And based on all of that, Your Honor, and even the narrative that was given by the state, which I won't stipulate to, but even with that narrative, I think that this is the case that at least arguably could be one of self-defense. Without having any history, his extensive ties to the community, again, we would be asking for a signature bond. If Your Honor is not inclined to, then certainly a bond of no more than 500 in this case. A surety bond of no more than 500.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He is to complete the one-day anger awareness course. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Last name Reed. Is the incident location, is that the address where he's alleged to work? The 615 Stonehill, Ms. Backus?
Let me look at the police report really quick.
What
That
I'll
is
say,
correct, Your Honor. That is correct.
all right, so we're not going to do the stay away at this time, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Watson Cafe, does that conclude your business today?
I have one more. Mr. Nguyen, if you have a question, I don't want you to say anything about the case itself, the facts of the case. Is it related to the bond?
No, I was just wanting to say that the 615 Stonehill, that's my former employer. Like I don't work there anymore.
Okay, so what we'll do is he must stay away from that location. Since he's not alleged any tie to that location, he'll stay away from that location. All right, anything further from either party?
Nothing further.
Nothing
All right,
from me.
best of luck to you, Mr. Nguyen. Who do we have next?
Position 4, Lucier.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Lucia. Your case is 22. Just confirming though, this is not Ms. Kim's case?
No, it's not, Judge.
This
Okay.
is my case, Judge.
Okay, good to see you, Ms. Johnston. Okay, Mr. Lucia, your case is 22 CR 0068551C, in which you're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of October the 11th. Do you understand your rights here today?
Would you be kind enough to go ahead and run through those for me, please?
Of course, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have a right to an attorney. This particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet. That means any member of the public can watch this. Do you understand that, Mr. Lucier?
Yes, ma'am, very frightening.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard?
This is the 10th arrest. We got history out of Texas and New Mexico. I'll start with Texas first.
Okay.
2016 assault causing bodily injury, family member, that was a conviction. 2010 possession of drugs conviction. 2010 escape from custody conviction. Got another 2010 possession of drugs. As far as New Mexico, I got 2019 resisting, evading, or obstructing an officer. Another 2019 arrest for assault, aggravated assault. That's October 30th, 2019. February 2020 ag assault. September 2020 contempt of court. That's all out of New Mexico. And this is first Georgia arrest.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella, it's good to see you. Please proceed.
Good to see you as well, Your Honor. The state's recommending a $1,000 surety bond to remain the same. He already has one set, so we're asking for that bond to remain. We're also asking for the conditions of no contact with Summer Jacobs, who is an employee at the incident location, to stay away from the incident location, which is the Temple at 1589 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta, Georgia. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this incident occurred on October 11th, 2022 at the Temple at 1589 Peachtree Street Northeast. But Your Honor, I just want to explain to you what occurred before that, so the violation that was done by the defendant is understood. So on September 6, 2022, the defendant asked employee Ms. Summer Jacobs that he needed to speak with a rabbi at the incident location. Ms. Jacobs advised the defendant he needed to make an appointment, and the defendant became aggressive with her and caused a disruption at the incident location. Security officer there issued the defendant a criminal trespass warning on that date, which is the September 6th date. The incident was documented under APD case number 222-491-251. The defendant then returned on October 11th, which was yesterday, and asked to speak again to Ms. Jacobs. And that's when the defendant was arrested. And all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, you've also heard from pretrial, he has 1 cycle out of Georgia, 5 cycles out of Texas. He's a convicted felon, 4 cycles out of New Mexico. He has that 2017 aggravated assault, family violence, reduced to assault causing bodily injury conviction out of San Marcos County Court in Texas. He also has a 2012 escape from custody and failure to identify fugitive from justice conviction out of Wichita Falls County Court at Law in Texas. He has those recent violent arrests from the 2019 aggravated assault out of New Mexico and that 2020 aggravated assault deadly weapon out of New Mexico. For that reason, Your Honor, given his violent history, his risk of reoffending, what occurred here, the trespass and the disruption that occurred at the incident location and the continued contacts with Ms. Jacobs, we're asking for that $1,000 surety bond to remain the same with the stated conditions. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Johnston?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no problem with the $1,000 surety bond, but
Yes, ma'am, I'll speak
You
for
gotta raise your
myself,
hand
please.
first. You gotta raise your hand first.
Oh, please don't say anything, Mr. Lucier. Please do
I have not
interfere.
accepted counsel. Thank you, ma'am. That was a right that you gave me and I did not accept.
So you choose to represent yourself and you do not
Yes.
wish to have the services of the public defender's office?
And that is what I've done with all my previous cases as well.
All right, what I want to do is this, Mr. Lucier, since you're telling me that you wish to represent yourself today, and you are correct, you do have that right. I do not want you, I want to advise you again, the state is listening and they have the ability to roll back this tape, as I just warned you, and assess additional charges based upon anything you may say. I will hear arguments regarding only the bond here, but it's my strong advice that you seek Ms. Johnston's assistance, and you're declining that again?
Right, so first of all, I'll apologize for my appearance. We were working on the property yesterday with Ezekiel when we went to the temple to participate in a community run because I'm Jewish and the temple is Jewish, where we were again confronted by a non-Jew who was hostile and
Okay,
aggressive.
hold on, Mr. Lucia. It sounds like you're going to tell me about the facts of this case.
I'm
and
going
that's
to
what
ask for a motion. I'm going to put forth a motion to dismiss.
All right. Well, we won't be hearing that motion to dismiss today. This is only
It's
initial
on the
appearance.
record now.
It is, all right, duly noted. However, I'm only gonna speak with you regarding your bond. I do not want you to tell me about what happened, okay?
We'll ask for
And
personal
again,
recognizance and thank you very much.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So we'll ask for a personal recognizance and we'll thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. And again, you are affirmatively saying that you did not want Ms. Johnston's help.
She's welcome as co-counsel.
Okay, all right, at this time, I'll be accepting the state's recommendation. Mr. Lucier will receive $1,000 surety bond. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case, Ms. Jacobs, and he must stay away from that incident location as a condition. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition as well. Is there anything further, Ms. Tortorella?
Your Honor, that 1-day anger management that was requested by the state.
I'm doing a surety bond here, Ms. Tortorella, so
Oh.
I'm not gonna require the anger management courts.
No problem.
Mr. Lucier, again, if you have a question regarding the bond, I can hear that at this time. Do you have any questions?
Criminal charges need to be filed against Officer Bellamy. That's what needs to happen.
All right, you can take that
Anger
up as well.
management, professional misconduct is what is at hand right now.
All right, I'm sure that you'll take that up upon your release, but is there anything further regarding this bond order, Mr. Lucier?
We'd again put forth for personal recognizance.
All right, duly noted. I believe that will conclude your case. Best of luck to you, sir, all right?
Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you. All right, who do we have next?
Position 1, Brown.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. Your case number is 22 CR 006848C, in which you're charged with battery family violence with the offense date of January the 8th of 2022. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard.
This is his 8th arrest. He don't have any violence. Last arrest was 2008, probation for drugs. That was November 08. June 08, he was charged with the drugs. Before that was 05, suspended license. And he just got more drugs and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommending a 4,500 surety bond. The conditions is no contact with the victim. Her name is Kenyatta Dixon. First name is K-E-N as in Nancy, Y-A-T-T-A. The last name is Dixon, the traditional spelling. To stay away from the incident location at 1520 Olympian Way Southwest in Atlanta. 1-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. This incident occurred on January 8th, 22 of this year at the incident location, 1520 Olympian Way. This defendant does pose a significant threat and danger to the person of Kenyatta Dixon. This incident developed after an argument between the parties, Your Honor. The defendant, Shane Brown, decided to push Ms. Dixon on the bed and then placed his hands around her neck. The defendant then took a step further and applied pressure to Ms. Dixon's neck. Officer G. Say of the Atlanta Police Department observed bruises and scratches around the victim's neck. Bruising was also observed on Ms. Dixon's bottom lip. The defendant also struck Ms. Dixon in the torso, aside from the strangulation. Defendant and Ms. Dixon lived together at the incident location. The defendant was eventually arrested, and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. As far as intimidation of the victim witness here, it's foreseeable due to the facts of this matter. Your Honor, the defendant has 8 cycles and he is a convicted felon. So for that reason, we're asking for that $4,500 surety bond and with the conditions stated, nothing further.
All right, at this time, I'm gonna sound for Ms. Dixon. Ms. Dixon, if you are on the Zoom conference and wish to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing none, Ms. Watson Cafe.
Yes, Your Honor. We'll be asking for a signature bond in this case. Mr. Brown is a lifelong resident of Georgia. He completed the 12th grade. I spoke to him pretty extensively about his medical condition. Apparently he has a heart condition, which has caused him to not be able to work. He's been on SSI for 2 decades. Yeah. about 20 some odd years because of that. So he just does not have sufficient income to post any type of bond. I did not have an opportunity to speak to the victim or the alleged victim in this case, so I don't know what her position is. Mr. Brown, however, is not seeking a would, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown did indicate that he wanted no further violent contact as opposed to no further contact, but I understand what the state's position, I mean, what the state's position and what your Honor's likely ruling is going to be on that based on the fact that she's not here to speak on her own behalf. Based on his ties to the community, your Honor, based on the fact that he doesn't have any violent prior history, and there's also a significant gap in his history. The most recent one I heard was 2008, if I heard Mr. Howard correctly. And based on his very limited financial income, again, it's solely SSI, we would be asking for a signature bond. If your Honor is not inclined to do that, we would ask for a bond of no more than $500. Again, your Honor, he has some pretty significant issues going on with his heart, and I don't believe that the jail is going to be able to properly care for him based on that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Watson Cafe. At this time, Mr. Brown will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He is to take the one-day anger awareness course. He is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons and have no contact with Ms. Dixon. He must stay away from that 1520 Olympian Way. He can return one time with a member of law enforcement to get any items that he may need to obtain from that address. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the defense, your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Brown. And now, Ms. Watson Cafe, does that conclude your business?
That does. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, take care. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
All right, who do we have next?
Mr. Gerald.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Gerald. Your case number is 22 CR 006850J, in which you're charged with battery with the offense date of May the 4th of 2022. Do you understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard.
First.
All right, thank you. Is this Ms. Tortorello? Oh, yes, Ms. Tortorello, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. The state's asking for a $4,000 surety bond. And the conditions is no contact with the victim. Her name is Jada Frazier. First name is J-A-D as in dog A. Last name is F as in Frank, R as in Robert, A, Z as in zebra, I-E, R as in Robert. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, no violations of Georgia law, and a one-day anger management. Your Honor, this incident occurred on May 4th of this year at 3230 Cushman Circle Southwest, apartment H-8 in Atlanta. This defendant does pose a significant threat and danger to the person of Jada Frazier. Defendant Stephen Gerald decided to punch the victim, Ms. Frazier, on the left side of her face with a closed fist and then proceeded to tackle her to the ground. This caused Ms. Frazier to have swelling on her face and visible scratches on her upper right arm and back area. Witness Hope Brown's statements to police corroborated with Ms. Frazier's statements. The incident occurred after Ms. Frazier confronted the defendant regarding her deceased dog that died under the defendant's care. And the defendant was eventually arrested, and these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. We're also concerned of intimidation of the victim witness here. It's foreseeable due to the facts. The victim used to use the defendant's services so that the defendant could take care of her dog. So he knows her phone number. Your Honor, for that reason, we're asking for that no contact. The victim does not want any contact. There's no stay away because the incident location is not where the victim resides. However, just due to the facts and the nature of what occurred here, the fact that he punched somebody and then tackled this lady to the ground, we are asking for that $4,000 surety bond, nothing further.
All right, thank you. I believe I saw Ms. Frazier on the Zoom conference. Ms. Frazier, you're not required to make a statement. However, if you wish to do so, this is your opportunity. You need to turn on your camera and unmute yourself if you'd like to make a statement. All right, I'm assuming, let's see, Ms. Frazier.
She was having issues, I guess. I asked her to start a camera, Judge, and it went blank, so I think she just came off the line, so I don't know if she's trying to log back on or not.
All right, we'll go to Ms. Johnston in the meantime. Ms. Johnston, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. As was already stated, this is Mr. Gerald's first arrest. He has no criminal history. Based on that, we would be asking for a signature bond. He is also unemployed right now. He is living with his mother. He does not have the financial means to pay the $4,000 surety bond that the state is asking for. He also disputes the facts in this case per my conversation with him. So we would be asking for a signature bond.
All right, let's sound for Ms. Frazier one last time.
She's not on the line, Judge.
Okay, well, we tried, didn't we? All right, at this time, the defendant will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. He must take the one-day anger awareness course, have absolutely no contact whatsoever by any means with Ms. Frazier, including social media, the internet, text, absolutely nothing. And he is to have no weapons, drugs, or alcohol as a condition of his signature bond for pretrial.
Come
Is there
back on the
anything
line
further?
now.
All right, is there anything further?
Did I hear that the victim was on the line?
You did. We're gonna let her speak very quickly. Ms. Frazier, did you wish to make a statement? We can't hear you if you're speaking, and you need to be placed under oath before you begin talking. All right, please, we can't hear you. And we really can't belabor this point. We have other cases to get to today. So Ms. Frazier, I saw that you joined the audio. Perhaps your microphone needs to be, let's see.
Yes, her microphone is not on. She didn't join with auto.
She had a microphone up at first.
Yeah.
So something happened.
Yep.
Okay, so Ms. Frazier, you need to re-hit the button that says join audio. You hit it for a moment. Let's try it again. I think you're double tapping it or something. We're unable to hear Ms. Frazier. We're going to give you one more moment, Ms. Frazier, then the court will have no choice but to move forward. Mr. Tortorello or Mr. Walker, has anyone spoken directly with Ms. Frazier through the victim advocate's office such that we know her position? I believe Ms. Tortorello said that she wants no contact, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Frazier, if you cannot make it work in the next few moments, we're going to move forward. We'll take a very short break to give you the opportunity to get it to work.
As Ms. Tortorella has stated, we have had contact with the victim, and I can assure you that she
Yes,
would be objecting to a signature bond.
I'm sure she would as well, Mr. Walker. The ruling will still stand. I would still hear from her if she could make it work. If not, what we'll do, Ms. Frazier, you almost had it, I believe. One last moment. And I'm sure, I note the state's objection as well, Mr. Walker. All right, we're gonna move forward. We just cannot belabor this point. The ruling will stand. The state's objections are noted and the victim's statements as given to the court through Ms. Tortorello via the state are also noted. Best of luck to you, sir. We can move to our next position.
Position 2, done.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Dunn. Your case number is 22 CR 006849J. And what you're charged with theft by taking, which is a misdemeanor offense with the offense date of February the 28th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, I have second arrest, but will you please put the first one to the record for me?
He was arrested on the 8th of this month for misdemeanor possession of marijuana. He went to the city jail for that.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Tortorello, this is your case. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on December 20th, 2021 at 516 Boulevard Northeast, apartment 4 in Atlanta. This defendant, Tyrese Dunn, took advantage of the years of friendship he had with a 14-year-old NW and the trust he gained with her family, and stole NW's PlayStation 4 from her home. NW's father, victim Michael Williams, reported the crime on February 28th, 2022. NW advised she and the defendant were playing with the PlayStation 4 on the evening of the incident. After the defendant left the incident location, NW noticed that her video game console along with a controller were missing. NW states she attempted to make contact with the defendant regarding her PlayStation, but the defendant has stopped communicating with her and her family. NW states she has seen posts on defendant's social media regarding him playing PlayStation after the incident took place. The defendant was eventually arrested, and all these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state's considering the charge, the facts of the matter, the fact that the defendant is young, and the light criminal history on his record. There's no violence and only 2 cycles. We're asking for that $2,500 surety bond to change to a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. The conditions is no contact with the victims, the father, Michael Williams, and the 14-year-old juvenile, N as in Nancy, W as in water, to stay away from the incident location at 516 Boulevard Northeast, apartment 4 in Atlanta, and an anti-theft class, and no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella, I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson, you represent this defendant?
Yes, I do, Judge.
And I'm assuming you do not object to the signature by?
No, I do not object.
The question I have though is, I believe your client is 18 and pretrial is going to require a co-signer. Does your client have someone who can co-sign?
I believe his mom could co-sign. Is that accurate? Yes, okay. He's nodding
All
his
right.
head, so I believe his mom can.
All right, per judge, I'm gonna send it through pretrial. Defendant is gonna receive a $2,500 signature bond, and he is to have absolutely no contact with the alleged victim in this case or her family, MW. I'm not gonna order the theft class at this juncture.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything further from either party?
Mr. Dunn, if it's about the bond or a quick question about that, go ahead. But if it's about the facts, let's not do that right now.
Your Honor, did you state no drugs or alcohol, no weapons?
You got a signature bond.
Yeah, I'm assuming, okay, we can add that. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons as well. All right?
His mother's name gonna need to go on the bond with him.
Right, we said that he needs a co-signer. We need the name of his mother, Ms. Johnson.
I do not have the name of his mother. What, can you provide the name of your mother, Mr. Dunn?
Sorry, my voice going a little bit, but it's Patrice Dunn.
Can you spell that for us?
Patricedun.
All right, Mr. Howard, I'll waive the utility bill if you'll give me the paperwork to do so, all right?
Can he repeat her name again?
It's Patrice.
Yeah, Patrice Dunn.
Dillard?
Dunn, like the
Dunn. Okay, thank you.
I just have one thing to say.
Please don't say anything. You're getting a signature bond. Speak to your attorney about whatever the situation might be, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have if it's a bond question, I will hear it, but I don't want to hear about what happened. What would you like to say, Mr. Dunn?
Never mind.
Yeah, please speak to your attorney. You don't know what the state might end up using against you. All right? Take care.
All right.
Is it possible for us to do the interpreter case next?
All right, have a seat, Mr. Mott. We're not gonna do it. We're, come on, ma'am.
All right, Madam Interpreter, will you please state your name for the record?
Gertrude Holes.
Ms. Coles, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that you will make an accurate translation today from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your skills, knowledge, and abilities?
I do.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim and Ms. Backus, please give time for interpretation to catch up. All right, sir, your name, are you Javier Zacarias San Juan?
Yes.
Señor, ¿es usted Javier Zacarías San Juan? Yes.
All right, your case number is 22 CR 006852H.
Su número de caso es 22 CR 0068552H.
In this case, you're charged with one count of driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, one count of reckless. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're in this case, you're charged with one count of driving under the influence of alcohol less safe,
En este caso, se le acusa de manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol o manejar bajo riesgo de embriagado,
reckless driving,
conducción temeraria
Sí.
and following too closely,
y manejar muy de cerca a otro auto.
Okay.
each with the offense date of October the 11th of 2022.
Cada infracción conlleva la fecha 11 de octubre de 2022.
You have an absolute right to remain silent.
Tiene todo el derecho a permanecer callado.
Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Cualquier cosa que diga puede ser y será usado en su contra.
You also have a right to an attorney today.
También tiene derecho a un abogado.
And Ms. Kim is available to represent you.
Y la licenciada Kim está disponible para representarlo.
This proceeding is being broadcast over the internet.
Esta diligencia judicial se está transmitiendo por internet.
It's also being recorded.
También se está grabando.
That means any member of the public can log on and watch this.
Eso significa que cualquier persona del público puede iniciar sesión y ver la sesión.
Do you understand your rights?
¿Entiende sus derechos, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Howard?
Muy bien. Licenciado Howard,
His third arrest,
¿es su tercer arresto?
2017 driving without a valid license conviction.
Una condena en el 2017 de manejar sin una licencia válida.
2009 driving without a valid license. It just says transferred to state court from
Y
Alpharetta.
luego en el 2009 manejar sin licencia válida. Solamente dice aquí caso transferido de la sala estatal de Alpharetta.
Okay, that's all.
Es
All right.
todo.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Backus, please proceed.
For the
Gracias,
record, Your Honor,
licenciada.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's Ms. Tortorello. I'm sorry, Ms. Tortorello, please proceed.
Adelante, licenciada. Tortorello.
Your Honor, for the DUI charge, we're asking for the $2,500 surety to increase to a $5,000 surety bond.
Su señoría, estamos pidiendo que en cuanto a la fianza de caución para la infracción de manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol, que ahora está a 2,500, que suba a 5,000.
For the reckless driving charge, a $1,000 surety bond.
Y que le ponga una fianza de $1,000 por la infracción de conducción temeraria.
And for following too closely, a $1,000 surety bond.
Y también una fianza de caución de $1,000 por lo de manejar muy de cerca a otro auto.
The total would be a $7,000 surety bond.
El total sería una fianza de caución de $7,000.
The conditions are no driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law.
Las condiciones será que deje de manejar, que nada de consumo de alcohol ni droga, nada de tenencia de armas y que no incumple las leyes de Georgia mientras está en libertad bajo fianza.
Your Honor, before I proceed with the facts of this matter, I would like the court to take notice of the defendant's driver's history.
Su señoría, antes de hablar de los hechos del caso, quisiera que usted se fije en el historial de manejo de este acusado.
The driver's history states that the defendant is not licensed to drive.
Aquí dispone que el acusado no tiene una licencia válida para estar conduciendo.
The defendant should not have been driving at all on the date of the incident.
Que no debería haber estado manejando en absoluto en la fecha del incidente.
And this three-car accident could have been prevented.
Y este accidente de 3 autos pudo haber sido se pudo haber evitado.
This incident occurred on October 11th, 2022 at
El
Holcomb.
incidente,
Go ahead.
el incidente ocurrió el 11 de octubre de 2022
At Holcomb Bridge Road and Warsaw Road in Roswell.
en la Holcomb Bridge Road con la Warsaw Road in Roswell.
Roswell police responded to the incident location at 9:40 p.m. in reference to a three-vehicle car accident.
La policía de Roswell respondió al sitio de incidente por una llamada de un accidente automovilístico que implicaba 3 autos.
The officers determined defendant Javier Zacarías San Juan's vehicle was at fault.
Los agentes determinaron que el vehículo del señor Javier Zacarías San Juan tenía la culpa.
The officer detected the odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from the defendant's person.
Y el agente detectó un olor a alcohol que se despedía de la persona del señor acusado.
The defendant also had slurred speech, red watery eyes, and was unbalanced.
El acusado también arrastraba las palabras, tenía los ojos inyectados de sangre y llorosos. And I'm sorry, what was the last one?
He was unbalanced.
Y tambaleaba al estar parado.
The defendant admitted to officers to drinking 2 beers.
Él reconoció ante los agentes de policía que había consumido 2 cervezas.
The defendant consented to field sobriety testing.
Él dio su consentimiento para participar en pruebas de sobriedad en el sitio.
Officer found clues in the horizontal gaze nystagmus examination, and the defendant failed that test.
Los agentes descubrieron indicaciones de un estado alterado en la prueba del nystagmo horizontal y él reprobó esa prueba.
The officer did not have the defendant perform the walk and turn or the one-leg stand.
El agente no lo puso a hacer la prueba de caminar y virar, ni la prueba de pararse en una sola pierna.
And this was due to the language barrier, the defendant's inability to follow directions, and the defendant being unstable and unbalanced.
Y eso se debe al hecho de que existía un problema de idioma, que el señor acusado no podía seguir las instrucciones y que él no tenía equilibrio en el momento.
The defendant was arrested for DUI, and implied consent for persons 21 years of age or older was read to the defendant. Ms. Toll.
Had an interpreter,
Yes.
your internet was breaking up.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You broke up for a moment. If you could start that again. I wasn't sure if it was me for a moment, but if you wouldn't mind starting again.
Sure. Is that where he was arrested for DUI, read the implied consent?
Mhm.
Okay. Entonces al acusado lo arrestaron por manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol y le dieron el consentimiento.
It broke up again.
It
Oh
did.
no, I'm so sorry. How about now?
It's good now. It's great now.
Okay. Al acusado al acusado lo detuvieron por manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol y le leyeron el consentimiento implícito para personas de 21 años o más.
During a defendant agreed to a chemical breath test, and was defendant agreed to a chemical breath test. Sorry.
Que el acusado aceptó participar en una prueba de sobriedad, una prueba química de su aliento.
During testing, the defendant would not blow properly on the intoxilizer. Ms. Knowles, you're breaking up.
It broke up one more time. If you wouldn't, maybe we can summarize some of this. Mr. Earl, maybe give us just a short cap so while we can get through this. Try again one more time.
The defendant failed to blow properly on the machine.
Que no adecuadamente en la.
We've lost Ms. Tolles, I believe. I don't
Did you
see
hear
Ms.
me?
Tolles.
And that
I'm
was,
here.
yeah, you're
Okay,
here.
there you are. We lost you for a moment. We lost you for a moment.
All right. The defendant was not able to blow properly into the machine, correct? Okay.
Yes.
El acusado no soplaba adecuadamente en la máquina.
And these events occurred in Fulton County, Georgia.
Y esos eventos ocurrieron dentro del condado de Fulton, Georgia.
And so, Your Honor, just to be brief, he has a 2017 driving without a valid license arrest. This is out of his driver's history from Roswell Municipal Court. 2009 driving without
Hold one second, Ms. Tortorella. Ms. Tolles, are you there? Let's go ahead and do that one.
Yes, ma'am. Brevemente, su señoría, y esa es información de su historial de manejo. Él tiene un caso de manejar sin licencia del 2017 de la ciudad de Roswell, del Tribunal Municipal de Roswell.
And that was a conviction.
Y eso fue una condena.
And he had a 2009 arrest out of Alpharetta for the same charge.
También lo detuvieron en el 2009 en Alpharetta por la misma acusación.
This defendant fails to understand that he cannot drive if he's not licensed.
Este acusado no entiende que no puede estar manejando sin licencia.
And his failure of understanding this, now we're here with a DUI case where he drove a car without a license and caused an accident.
Y por no entender que no puede manejar sin licencia, tenemos un caso de manejar tomado, conducción tomado, de provocó un accidente de agua.
And for that reason, Your Honor, we're asking for that $7,000 surety bond with the condition stated.
Por eso, por el motivo, señoría, estamos pidiendo.
Ms. Tolles, you broke up.
Tolles is frozen.
Oh.
Let's give her a moment.
I think she logged off to come back on. I'm gonna see if she comes back on.
Well, that's the end of my argument, Your Honor. Just
This has been a fun day. Feels like Monday is Wednesday though. All right. Hopefully Ms. Tolles is on her way back.
Judge, can we move on to the next case while we're waiting for the interpreter to come back?
I really don't want to. I was hoping she was just gonna appear any second. But if she's not in the next moment or so, we will. We don't even have anyone to tell him that we're coming back to his case. All right, I guess we have no choice but to come back to this. We'll remember that Mr. Tortorella was requesting a $7,000 surety bond. All right, who do we have next at the jail?
Position 6, Mott. Come on, Mott. Put your mask on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mott. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Your case is 22 CR 006853F, in which you're charged with simple battery and reckless conduct with the offense date of October the 11th. Do you understand your right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard.
16 total. Last arrest was 2021. Cruelty in the third, which was dismissed. Terroristic threats, felony. That was a conviction. The possession of a knife or a firearm was dismissed. He's on probation for terroristic threats and burglary. What we got? 2020 probation for the burglary. Got a 2020 battery conviction. 2020 probation. 2019, 2 counts of trespass DV conviction. 2018 probation burglary. He was convicted in 2018, 2 counts of felony terrorist threats. 1 count fair evasion, 1 count certain acts on martyr. The simple battery was not presented to the grand jury. 2017 probation violation, underlying charges, ag assault. 2015 was the burglary conviction, obstruction conviction, another probation violation for the ag assault. That case is 14 SC 124471. 2014 failure to appear for the ag assault, possession of a knife during the commission, terrorist threats, battery DV. 2014, the terrorist threats, 2 counts and battery DV were non-pros and not presented to a grand jury. In 2014, he got first offender for the ag assault, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. That's it.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Tolles didn't come back, I'm assuming. All right, Ms. Backus, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. The state is requesting a $4,000 surety bond on this case. No further contact with the victim, Cecilia Jimenez. Stay away from the, well, actually, I would say comply with active MARTA suspensions. There should be one in place. And if not, to stay away from the MARTA station at 1255 West Peachtree Street, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We actually did receive the police report after the 8 o'clock cutoff, but we do plan on upgrading this to a felony at a certain point. This incident occurred yesterday. The victim, Miss Cecilia Jimenez, was on the train leaving from the Dorville MARTA station, but this incident occurred near the Art Center at that 1255 Peachtree MARTA station. Miss Jimenez was riding the train when a male, who's later identified as the defendant, was observed beginning to argue with 2 unknown men on the train. He began making threats to them. He pulled out a hammer and was swinging it at the 2 males. He attempted to follow Ms. Jimenez and hit her with the hammer as well, but luckily someone took the hammer, threw it off the train and pushed him off the train. But when Ms. Jimenez and her coworkers got off the train, the defendant spotted them, tried to come after them. He also tried to swing at her, but she ran, and that is when he pushed her. Your Honor, based on the history and based on the nature of this offense, which really, like I said, will be upgraded likely to an aggravated assault, we are asking that a surety bond be put in place because he is a risk to the community. He is a danger to the community, Your Honor. Nothing further.
I'm sorry, Ms. Backus, can you give me that breakdown again that the state is requesting?
Sure, $2,000 surety on each to make for a $4,000 surety. My apologies.
All right, thank you. You may have said it, I just did not catch it. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mott is actually 25 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. Indeed, he has 2 children already, and he's a single father trying to provide, and he has his parents here in Georgia. He's working at the remodeling the houses while he's pursuing his dream to be a hip hop artist, music artist. And he graduated from high school. We would like to request for signature bond not more than $1,000 for each charge, so maximum $2,000 for them. Thanks.
All right, thank you. At this time, the defendant is going to receive a $3,000 surety bond, $1,500 each charge. He is to stay away from the MARTA station at 255 West Peachtree and comply with all active suspensions. He is to have no contact with the alleged victim, last name Jimenez, and he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. I see that Ms. Tolles is back on the line. Can we go back?
I
That's all right. Can we go back to position 9? I believe Ms. Tortorella, were you finished, or was there something you had further to add?
I was finished, Your Honor.
All right. And had Ms. Tolles interpreted all of Ms. Tortorella's discussion? I could not remember that part. Ms. Tolles, were you complete with interpreting Ms. Tortorella's last parts of her argument? Ms. Tolles is frozen again. Ms. Tolles?
We were at DUI and Santo Dios.
We're still unable to hear you, Ms. Tolles, unfortunately.
I heard Santo
Okay.
Dios.
Can you hear me now?
We can always hear the "can you hear me now?" and then it goes a little sideways after that. If you try again now.
We gonna stop. Can't hear me. We gonna stop. We gonna stop. Can't hear me.
What's happening?
I was the last part I interpreted was according to his.
Hold 1 second, Ms. Tolles. Is everything okay at courtroom 2?
They probably about to take him out. I'll call over there.
Will you find out, Mr. Howard, please? And if we need to do that position now, we can do that right away so that things can settle back down. Ms. Tolles, you'll have to hold one
That's
moment
fine.
while we ascertain what's taking place.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience today.
It's hump day.
It's something. Something is not right today. I don't know what it is, but
It's Wednesday, hump day.
I
Hopefully
guess
the Atlanta Braves will win today with all
I
of this
don't-
going on.
I don't know, Ms. Bridgewater. It's not looking good in light of the what's
Oh,
taking
my.
place.
We had an incident, we had a situation with one of the inmates. We're back.
All right, do we need to take that inmate's position or?
No, he's already done. That was Mr. Mott.
Oh, all right. Understood. Please, Ms. Tolles,
I
attempt
don't know.
That I've written down is history. He had a no license charge out of Roswell in 2017, and then we're about to go into 2009.
Okay. Do you need me to say that again or?
Yes, please.
Okay. So he had a 2009 driving without a valid license arrest, and it was in Alpharetta.
Ms. Tolles, we can't hear you again.
Your Honor, this was already mentioned by pretrial before, so I don't think we need to repeat twice.
Yeah, we're having such difficulties that I think we're gonna just go on to Ms. Kim's argument.
Yes.
Ms. Tolles, can you hear me? And I'm sure the state would prefer if we could interpret it, but in light of the circumstances, Mr. Walker, I'm asking that we be allowed to move on. Ms. Kim, Ms. Tolles?
Is Ms. Tolles here?
She's
She's
here, she's
frozen.
just frozen again. Okay, well, I guess we can go to another position and come back.
Position 8, Wimbish.
Wimbish, good afternoon. Your case is 22 CR 006856E, in which you're charged with battery with the offense date of October the 11th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
I stepped away. Who is this, Judge?
Position 8, Wimbush, please, or
Wimbish.
Wimbish, I believe is the way we say that.
Second arrest. Last arrest was 2019, theft by taking, felony. Obstruction. The obstruction was dead docket. She got PTI for the theft by taking. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stevens, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please
Okay.
proceed.
Your Honor, the state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond, a stay away from incident location, which the location is 2457 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive Northwest. That's in American Deli. A no contact with the victim, who is Miss Tagi McKibben. That's TAHGIEMCKIBBEN, as well as a no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday when an officer was dispatched to the American Deli for a personal injury call. The officer was able to speak to both the victim and to the defendant, whereupon he learned that the victim, Ms. McKibben, had arrived at the deli in order to order food. After waiting on her order for an extended period of time, eventually she asked the defendant what was causing the delay. After asking that question, the defendant made a series of disparaging remarks and eventually threw Ms. McKibben's food at her, which started the physical altercation. The victim claims that then the defendant slammed her into the counter, and the officer is able to notice visible injuries, including ripped articles of clothing, scratches on her neck, and then a giant hematoma on her forehead, the size of a golf ball, and which Ms. McKibben is getting a CAT scan for later today in order to understand the extent of her injuries. So due to the nature of this offense and the violence that was included, that's why the state is requesting that $2,500 surety bond as well as the other conditions of the bond.
All right, thank you. And to be clear, the defendant is alleged to have worked at American Deli, or defendant was a patron? I was unclear with that part.
The defendant is the employee, the victim is the patron.
Okay, understood. All right, thank you. Is this Ms. Kim's case? My screen shuffled. Who represents this defendant?
Your Honor, which one are we?
Position 8, Ms. Wimbish, do you represent this defendant?
I thought it was Mr. Jacob Stephens.
He switched for the state.
Okay, no problem, Your Honor. Yes, I do represent Miss Wimbish, Your Honor, and she is actually 20 years old, Your Honor, and she was not a first aggressor. She was actually attacked first by somebody who was hitting her at work, and also she has no children, of course. She's 20 years old. She has 2 jobs. She works at warehouse and American Deli. She also graduated from high school 2020. She has a strong ties to the community, and I was able to talk to her mother because she's recommended by pretrial services, and they had a note saying that parental co-signer was needed. So we should be able to have one of her parents co-sign for her if necessary. But I really don't think that she needs it because she's already 20 years old. She graduated from high school. She can sign her own bond. And we believe that she's qualified for unsecured judicial relief, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kim. At this time, I am going to accept the state's recommendation. Defendant will receive a $2,500 surety bond. She is to have no contact with the alleged victim in this case, and she must stay away from the incident location unless she's still employed there. She is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further from either party?
Yes, Your Honor, she is still employed. I checked with her because her employer believes that it was not her fault. So when I asked her, she believes she's still employed. So she would only do her job.
So
She can
if she's
return-
kind of knocking out customers, the state's going to object to her returning back to the incident location.
If the American Deli is willing to take her back, I am not going to stand in the way of that employment. However, the surety bond will set.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything further? Oh, Ms. Wimbish, if you have a question, the best thing to do is to speak to Ms. Kim. Do you have a question about the bond?
Yes, I do have a question about the bond.
Yes, ma'am. What your question?
Is it like, can I sign out and leave tonight? Because I don't have no money, but I can get money, but it's gonna be cash and nobody can cash my check for me.
Okay, Ms. Kim will help you coordinate that, all right? Please give her, Ms. Kim, will you give her a call at the conclusion of this calendar? All right. All right, best of luck to you, ma'am.
I'm scared of shit.
All right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt court. But is there any way we can get the paperwork over for Mr. Shane Brown? They're trying to get him out of jail as soon as possible.
We really can't do it, I don't think, until the end of court, because I would have to stop court and sign it.
It's like a medical emergency, judge. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, is that possible? We'll try.
Okay, thank you, and I'll just let them know. Thank you.
We'll do all we can. If Ms. Bridgewater, is Miss Lewis or Ms. Bridgewater, can someone help so that we can do that?
Position 7, Price.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, if you're saying something, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm so sorry.
That's
I'll
all
get
right.
one of my coworkers to help assist with this and we'll get it over to you.
All right, then
Thank you
I'll have
all,
to
Ms. Howard.
stop.
Thank you.
I'll have to stop for 1 second and just sign, but we'll go ahead until Ms. Bridgewater, will you please alert me when I have it?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all.
All right, who do we have?
Position 7, Price.
All right, good afternoon. Your case number is 22 CR 006855Y, in which you're charged with driving hit and run, duty to stop at the scene, following too closely, and driving with a suspended license, with the offense dated September the 21st. Do you understand your rights here today?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Over. One moment, please. 25 total. Last arrest was back in April for suspended license. He pled NOLO. Before that was 2016 suspended license. That's the Georgia history. She got history out of Indiana, Kentucky, Texas, California, Illinois, North Carolina, and Virginia. 2019, North Carolina. Obtaining property under false pretense. Injury to personal property, those were dismissed. Last arrest in Indiana was in 2020. No, I'm sorry, 2021 for fraud, synthetic identity deception, resisting law enforcement, false identification card, counterfeiting. 2016 battery theft, false reporting. 2015 battery, false informing. 2015 theft, battery, false reporting. The battery was a conviction. 2015 theft. I think she took a plea on that one. 2015 suspended license, carrying a handgun without a license.
I think that's okay. I think I've got it. Thank you, Mr.
I got one more
Howard.
though. She went to felony earlier though. She got a $6,000 bond, and she got a lot of holes too.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Backus?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for a $4,500 surety bond, 1,500 on each count. No driving, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapon while out on bond. This incident occurred on September 21st. A warrant was issued for the arrest of the defendant due to her being involved in a motor vehicle accident and fleeing the scene. On the date of incident, the defendant was driving her vehicle. She left the scene of the accident, but officers spoke with the other driver of the vehicle who basically said that the defendant was following very close behind and ended up rear-ending them. Upon running the tag, which the officer did have the description of the vehicle and the tag, found out who the vehicle belonged to and found out that the driver had a suspended license. Based on the history, Your Honor, she's a multi-state offender. She literally goes from state to state. Breaking the law. She's wanted right now out of California for fraud, wanted out of Colorado for identity theft, Indiana for an FTA, Brookhaven, Roswell for an FTA, and Georgia Tech Police for a hit and run. So based on all of this, Your Honor, and her I guess likelihood to reoffend, we are asking that surety bond would be in place and that high. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. All right, Miss, I see you waving your hand, Ms. Price. The best thing to do is speak to Ms. Kim regarding your case. At the end, if you have a question about the bond, I will hear that. Ms. Kim, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Price is 30 years old, Your Honor, and he came to Georgia about 3 years ago. He was born in Indiana. Right now, he has 3 children, minor children, 12, 10, 5. And also, she's taking care of her own younger sister because she's the sole breadwinner for these 4 minors. And right now, 16 years old younger sister is taking care of those 3 kids, and she really got to go back home to take care of those minors. And she is self-employed as a hairstylist, but she could not work lately because her apartment, there was no air conditioning, and landlord took so much time to fix the air conditioning, so she could not have her clients in to get her hair done because it was too hot. We would like to request for actually, I wanted to ask for signature on bond because these were all driving traffic violation, Your Honor. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give her a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. However, she has another warrant at Brookhaven, so she's not going anywhere. She cannot be a flight risk. She cannot intimidate anybody. So besides, she also has a bond, and we really think she can get some break and get signature on bond for these traffic violations.
All right, thank you. At this time, defendant will receive a split bond as follows. It's going to be a $2,000 surety on count one, a $500 signature on count two, and a $1,000 surety on count three, for a total of $3,000 surety and $500 signature through the jail, for a total of a $3,500 total bond. Is there anything further from either party?
Nothing
Miss
further.
Ms. Price, do you have a question about the bond?
Yes, I do.
All right, what is your question?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So with the bonds, because I had court earlier for my other charges, so that's like 6,000 and then 3,000, that's like 9,000 total. Now, she had said something about multiple charges all over and stuff.
Okay, yeah,
I
don't
did
say
have-
anything about that. Go ahead, but don't say any, don't contest those. Let Ms. Kim do the legal arguing for you. Yes, you're correct as to the bond amount.
Yeah, so as far as the driving charges, I know it looks bad, but I recently just paid a lawyer $1,000 to work on my driving stuff to get my license reinstated by my birthday next month. My birthday is next month, so I have been working on it. It's not like I just been driving.
Okay, Ms. Price, I don't want you to make any other statements. The state is listening. You don't know what can end up being used against you, okay? The bond will remain, as I just said it. Please speak with Ms. Kim for more specific questions, all right? And best of luck to you regarding this case. All right.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
first of all, we've sent the paperwork to you for that. Okay. And the charge number one, that was 2,000. Repeat her bond amounts, the young lady that's before you now.
2,000, that's surety, 500 signature, and then a 1,000 surety. So 3,000 is good. 500 is a signature through the jail.
Thank you.
All right, and I am going to try to sign this on my phone. Oh, okay. Let's take a brief recess so I can sign this one order.
Are we done with position 9, Judge?
I don't think so.
We are not, unfortunately. We haven't even gotten to Ms. Kim. And what, is there an announcement for position 5?
Position 5 bonded out.
Holly, I got the order. I'll go on and send it over to the jail.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, let's return to position 9 if we can and go straight to Ms. Kim and hopefully interpretation.
Before we go there, Your Honor,
Yes.
are there any driving restrictions on position number 7? I know I have the no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or
Yes,
firearms.
and no driving.
No driving.
Unless she has an official license that's issued by the Georgia DDS.
Thank you.
All right, please proceed, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hagariasan Javier, he is 33 years old.
El señor Zacarías San Juan tiene 33 años de edad.
He has been here in Georgia for the last 15 years.
Lleva los últimos 15 años aquí en Georgia.
He has ties to the community. He has 2 children and baby is on the way.
Tiene lazos comunitarios, tiene 2 hijos y un bebé que viene en camino.
He is a sole breadwinner for his family.
Es él el que mantiene la familia.
And he's been working as a landscaper for the last 10 years.
Y ha trabajado los últimos 10 años en jardinería.
He graduated from high school in Mexico.
Se recibió de la secundaria en México.
And we would like to, actually, there was no charges for following too closely or reckless driving before. There was only one charge, DUI, and it seems like solicitor added some.
Y anteriormente no había la acusación de manejar muy de cerca a otro auto ni de conducción temeraria. Solamente había la acusación de manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol. Parece que la fiscalía agregó esas 2 infracciones.
We would like to request that $2,500 good bond remain set for DUI.
Quisiéramos pedir, por favor, que la fianza de caución para la infracción de manejar bajo el efecto de alcohol siga siendo $2,500.
And we would like to request for signature on bond for those driving charges, Your Honor.
Y quisiéramos pedir una fianza bajo palabra por las infracciones de tránsito.
That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Y es todo. Gracias.
All right, at this time, the $2,500 surety bond on the DUI will remain.
Entonces, en ese momento voy a disponer que la fianza de $2,500 por la infracción de manejar bajo el efecto del alcohol seguirá.
On the reckless driving, it'll be $1,000 surety bond.
Será una fianza de $1,000, fianza de caución por lo de conducción temeraria.
And the following too closely will be a $500 signature bond through the jail.
Y luego, por la infracción de manejar muy de cerca a otro auto, una fianza bajo palabra de $500 que se tramita a través de la cárcel.
And I believe that'll be a $4,000 split bond.
Creo que será una fianza mixta de $4,000.
Defendant is not to drive
Que no maneje el acusado.
at all as a condition of this bond.
Que no maneje en absoluto será una condición de su fianza.
And he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Y que no consuma nada de alcohol, ni drogas, ni que esté en posesión de armas.
Is there anything further from either party?
¿Algo más de las partes?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Que no maneje en absoluto nada más de parte del Estado, su señoría.
No,
right,
I mean, can I please get a clarification? If he gets a valid driver license, can he drive?
Si
If
puedo
it can work.
pedir que aclare, si puede sacar una licencia válida, ¿puede manejar para llegar al trabajo?
If he has a valid license issued by the Georgia DDS, he can drive.
Si saca una licencia válida, expedida por la Secretaría Vial de Georgia, entonces sí, puede manejar.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Gracias, su señoría.
All right, I believe that will conclude your case. Best of luck to you, sir.
Bueno, señor, la audiencia se da por concluida. Buena suerte.
Gracias.
Thank you.
And Madam Interpreter, if there's nothing further, you are free to go as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. You all have a great day. Happy
Take
Wednesday.
care.
Bye, Jar2.
Bye.
All right, I believe that concludes our calendar. Courtroom 2, you all can be excused. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right, Ms. Bridgewater, will you review the calendar for me, please?
Yes, it appears to have been a marathon today. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is October the 25th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $2,500 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 3, reset further notice, $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 5 is reset further notice as the defendant was released. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,000 total good bond. Position 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a $3,500 total split bond. Position 8, SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 9, SAP calendar with a $4,000 total split bond. And on the add-on, it's being reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? No?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Ms. Backus has a question.
Oh, never mind. I'll get it via email. It's okay. Never mind.
All right.
Sure.
Hearing none, will be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar, at which time I believe Judge Mincy is presiding. I'll see some of you all tomorrow at SAP. Otherwise, take
One
care.
last thing, Judge. Go Braves.